Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Ian Furness, standing by, brought to you by the Waddling Dog Pub. After an exciting summer, the Waddling Dog is gearing up for another busy fall. Come cheer on the Canucks, Lions, Whitecaps, Seahawks, and Mariners, all while enjoying one of their 19 taps, including beer, wine, and cider. Check out the daily happy hour from 4 to 6. The Dog is the place to be this sports season. Place to be any time of year.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Ryan, you mixed up OEL with Louis Erickson. In the break, you called me Donnelly instead of Donnie. And
Donnelly.
You know what's happening here? You're a new father, and you're not getting enough sleep. Am
It's
I right?
True. That's true. Max has been up at 3 a.m. the last 2 nights, so I'm
Well, it shows.
I'm battling.
It shows.
Donnelly.
Wow. and Dolly. As we bring in Ian Furness from KJR Sports Radio, Fox 13 Sports down in Seattle. How are you, sir?
Good. We're guys our age are always up at 3 a.m. for different reasons.
yeah. And 4 a.m. and 5 a.m.
6 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Happy belated birthday, Donnie. I just saw on social media back in on this day in 1951 or whatever they put up there that you were born. So
yeah.
a belated happy birthday.
Big day in Vancouver. All right. The Seahawks defeating Carolina 37-27. Panthers with 8 false starts. Was that an all-time performance by the 12s at Lumen, Ian?
Well, not all time. It was more like a throwback, honestly, Donnie. It was a throwback to what it used to be here. It used to be where the 12th man or the crowd would make a difference in the game, and it had not happened in a long time. They were 12-14 in their previous 26 games at home. Over the 3 or 4 years. That's with fans. We don't include 2020, obviously, when this building was empty. But they were a better road team. They've been a better road team over the last 4 years, and they have a home team. And I think at times there's probably, I don't know if spoiled's the right word, but there's a complacency with the fan base for the Seahawks. It's an interesting dynamic because they're just so used to this team under Pete Carroll and John Schneider just winning, getting to the playoffs, whether a wild card or division, and then wake us up when we get to the playoffs type of attitude. And it's an interesting thing. It's a stark contrast to what we have with the baseball team here, for example, or even the hockey team. But there was a little complacency. Crowd got into it, and they fed off of it. A couple false start penalties by the offensive line for the Panthers, and that's where the crowd really kind of sensed it, like blood in the water. They went right after him, and it made a difference. There's no doubt it made a difference.
What about that baseball team? What's the things are not looking good for the Mariners right now. Ian, we'll just talk baseball for a second, or maybe get back to football. What's the reaction been in Seattle? One of total disappointment, I would think,
or pure panic would be the other one as well. Or here we go again. I guess all those emotions. They're a team that I think we've talked about this before. They're constructed really. They're really well constructed if they were to get to the postseason. Shortened rotation, three-man rotation. Gilbert, Castillo, and Kirby are as good as you're going to get. 1, 2, 3. You don't have to have more than that in terms of starters in the playoffs. As far as the lineup is concerned, they got 4 or 5 guys that are pretty good, and then it gets thin really fast. And we're starting to see the lack of depth right now. We're starting to see the bullpen wear down. We're starting to see the rotation with guys at the back end like Miller and Wu wear down. Although Castillo pitched last night, he's supposed to be your ace, and Verlander just flat out whipped him. So they're hanging on. The demise is a little bit exaggerated. They're a game and a half behind Houston, but really they're only, I guess, a half a game behind Houston because they have the tiebreaker over the Astros. So if they win the next 2 or 3 against Houston, they're in really good shape, at least as a wild card team. They're not going to win the division. That's almost out the door right now, and that's unfortunate because they blew that series in Texas. So now if they do get in, they'll be a wild card team again, and they'll probably go to Minnesota to start the playoffs, and they like their chances in that series, but they've got to win 2 of the next probably the next 2 against Houston before Texas comes to town.
Ian, let's get to your hockey team, the Kraken. They beat the Flames last night in Calgary 5-3. Anyone stick out last night in the preseason game for you?
Rick, there was 2 games. We had a split squad. It was like spring. It was like spring's training. We had a team in Peoria and we had a team in Tempe last night. So I watched maybe 3 minutes. We had a baseball team down here playing for a playoff spot in Monday Night Football. So I honestly, I can tell you this. I went to practice last week, watched a little bit there, and watched a little bit last night. You guys are nuts up there. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You guys are flat out. I mean, I knew you were crazy. I knew you were a little bit off the wall. But when I look on social media, and I don't know who we can reference on this show, but I'll just say when I see guys like, is Drance okay to mention? Can we mention him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's okay. He's in our good books.
Okay, I love Drance. Drance and Harmon, all those guys. Like, we're getting a breakdown shift by shift in a scrimmage of a line combination. Are you kidding me?
This is Canada. This is Vancouver. Come on, Ian.
He knows.
Rick, I understand that, but that's as extreme and just goofy as down here when I've got this is a comp. There's a comp, Donnie. Believe it or not, there's a comp.
All right.
It's NFL training camp beat writer that charts every single pass by a quarterback in a scrimmage or a 7-on-7 August 15th. It makes no difference, man. It doesn't. Brock Purdy was 7 of 10 in the 7-on-7s, and Sam Darnold was 8 of 10. I think he's got the advantage right now. Well, we don't even know what the play call was. And we see, listen, we have nerds down here to do the same thing and for Seahawk practices. And here's why I bring this up. And I love you guys. You know I love you. But I'm seeing all this stuff with you guys right now with is Susie with Hughes? No, he's not. Oh my God! What? Like we had a split squad last night. No, there wasn't a defensive pair together. I don't think and the practice that I watched last week. Actually, watched 2 practices last week, and just for you, Rick, I watched 2 hockey practices in September, and I beat my head against the wall for 20 minutes afterwards. But I said, I'm watching there, and it's like, whoa, Shane Wright, where's he at?
Ooh.
Okay, he's. And who's he with? Oh, some guy I've never heard of from rookie camp. Super. I mean, come on. The combinations are messed up. They throw them in a blender and go, I did do this for you, Rick, because again, I love you guys. And you planted the damn seed in my head last week, and so this was the one little storyline I was going to chase down for you.
Yep.
Everything I've seen with Shane Wright, he's been in the middle. Because I think you asked last week about would they put him on the wing and stuff. And he's a center iceman. That's where they've got him, and they got him penciled in there, and he's probably heading to Coachella. But yeah, I did watch that. That's the only update I can give you. Grubauer wasn't good last night. Oh, let the panic begin. He gave up 2 on 6 shots. Let the panic begin. Decord came in and was better. It might be a Decord-Drieger combo in goal this year. I don't know. Donnie, man. It's September.
Donnie was pissed. We couldn't get the stats from the Canucks Calgary game.
We got them eventually.
No, we got them, but he was complaining about no stats.
I was wrong, though. It's on Sportsnet's website.
We could talk preseason hockey. I mean, I haven't seen many teams. Sean Payton in Denver thought that was bad, giving up a 10 spot in a preseason game. I don't know what you guys were doing up there for that thing. But,
hey, I do have one question. Will there be a captain in Seattle this year?
No, that doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they're going to stay with the status quo and the 4 alternates, and it's an interesting one. I don't know why. But they mentioned it. Hackstall mentioned it the other day, kind of like the status quo, and they've got listen, they've got a great room. They really do. They've got a really good room. They've got they got strong leaders with Yanni Gord and Eberle and Schwartz and Larson. They've got some strong guys leadership wise. But one thing I kept hearing all last year, and I think we saw it come to fruition in the playoffs. That's a very tight knit group, and I think maybe we even saw that a little bit, some remnants of that in the finals with Vegas. When you cast a bunch of guys aside and just kick them to the curb and say you're not wanted and all that, one of 2 things is going to happen. Some massive bitterness or some guys are going to come together. And this team came together. They rallied that first year when they weren't very good. And when they didn't have any opportunities to bond as a team, they still found some ways, here and there. Tight-knit group. And maybe this is one of those occasions you don't need a guy necessarily wearing a C.
Did you talk about hockey nerds? You just used the phrase great room. That is just so hockey nerd. I'm sorry, and you're ripping into us up here? Come on.
I'm not breaking down the line combinations from a split squad game and reading too much into it, though. I'm not at the Kraken Community Iceplex at 10 a.m. saying, "Holy smokes, I can't believe that Cartier's sitting up there with Beniers. Like, why is he on the top line right now? That makes no sense. It's panic in the street. Vince Dunn is a 3rd pair defenseman right now with Riker Evans. No, I'm not doing that.
Here's something. I want to ask you about Michael Penix. We'll do that next week. But here's something you want to look out for. Okay, this is from a hockey nerd.
Yes.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson will win the Norris Trophy this year down in Florida.
Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank.
Put that
Is
in
that
your
just
pipe
how
and smoke it.
Is that just how it works? Is that the opposite? Well, it's like the Mariners. When the Mariners trade a guy, he ends up winning a Cy Young or an MVP or something like that. Is that how it works?
This would be a little more outrageous, but it would be very Canuck. Right?
How much did they get out from all that contract? Are they still eating some of it?
Well, they ate just under $20 million of it.
That's not bad. That's all right.
It's not bad for OEL.
Yeah.
If only it could be me.
Wow.
All right. We'll talk about
you guys have had some contracts, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll head out to the practice rink for you, Rick, and see if I can get some more line combos for you.
Yep. I need you to spend 6 hours on the Kraken tomorrow. Yeah. 6 hours.
Yeah, in the middle of a pennant race, and I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it for you, buddy.
All right. Ian, thanks for this. Appreciate it.